Hey, what's up, my friends? Here we have a full moon happening. It's happening in the early morning hours, California time, West Coast, United States. In the pre-sunrise, Amrit Vela time, the time just before the sunrise, the moon will reach its peak. This is a beautiful full moon. It's in the nakshatra Purvaphalguni. It's a kind of spicy part of Leo. It's the nakshatra of procreation. It's a nakshatra of creativity, prosperity, sexuality. So in a certain way, it's a very energetic, Leo, fiery nakshatra. And on the other hand, though, with this full moon, what's happening is right across the sky, you have, of course, the sun. When the sun and the moon are 180 degrees opposite in the sky, you get a full moon. But right conjunct with the sun is Saturn is there. And in between Saturn and the sun is Mercury is there. Mercury is our style of communication, things we're interested in. And so you have him kind of hemmed in between two strong and sometimes difficult planets. Saturn we know is difficult. The sun also can be difficult. Even though it's the glorious sun, it's really hot. It burns things up. It can be totally edgy. It can combust us in our mind and our nervous system sometimes. So this full moon has this combination of this very creative energy of Purvaphalguni, even sexually creative. It has to do with prosperity and becoming prosperous. But Saturn is putting his gaze, as they say, right onto the moon during this full moon. And when Saturn puts his gaze somewhere, it sobers things up a bit. So sometimes maybe it can make us take a little hard look at our prosperity, or a hard look at our creativity, or a hard look at our sexuality. And it could even frustrate it a little bit. However, frustration doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, especially if we embrace Saturn, because I think that's really always the key, not to be negative about Saturn and Shani, just because it shows us the difficult parts of life. Ultimately, Saturn is benevolent. Saturn is a wisdom energy. We talk about the planets in polarities. We call Saturn the Great Malefic. We call Jupiter the Great Benefic. And that's important to know in terms of actually understanding kind of the mathematics and the chemistry between the planets and how to look at things and how to kind of interpret what might be going on. But then on a more deeper level, Saturn isn't malefic at all. Saturn is actually showing us where we need to look at so we can become more happy, more truly happy, showing where the holes are leaking, and to plug up the leaky holes where our life force, our chi, our prana, and if we do that, if we get in alignment with that, then it helps us tremendously. But simultaneously, we have this beautiful Jupiter-Venus conjunction that's happening in the sky. And Jupiter, the great planet of wisdom, the great benefic, when it comes together with Venus, the planet of pleasure, it gives our pleasure, our pursuits of pleasure, our experience of pleasure, wisdom. So it brings Venus into its more kind of exalted state. In fact, Venus is exalted in Jupiter's sign of Pisces. So you have all of these energies taking place during this full moon. I think it's a beautiful full moon. I'll be curious, what is it going to be like for you? What are the themes in your life that are coming right to the forefront, that are asking for your attention or have already gotten your attention, sometimes through difficulties? Sometimes we have money things, sometimes we have relationship things, sometimes things are expanding and we have to be careful not to attach too much, because some things that we really love and are holding dear to us will one day pass away. And so this is the idea of the full moon, and what we're doing on the full moon in the Life Force Academy, doing our global webcast, is free. Anyone can attend it. And it's called Joy of the Infinite. It's working with this very energy and doing it on the full moon. And this is the time of year where we do the Joy of the Infinite coursework, where it's impermanence trainings, deathlessness trainings, compassion trainings, some of the deepest, most powerful work that we do. And it's always something that yes, it requires a little bit of courage, but it brings forth that courage. It provokes the courage in our hearts so that we can kind of turn towards the suffering in life, not always habitually, subconsciously turning away from it and causing excess friction. But it's also finding the medicine there, finding how Saturn is your ally, Happy full moon time, Purvaphalguni. Join us. You can click through. The link is here to register. Maybe takes just 15 seconds to be a part of this webcast. See you there.